If anyone's there, please give a warm brain injury welcome. We have Swami talking of global grief and processing it and letting it go. So yes, yeah, round of applause there. Thank you very much, Swami.
Thank you, Daniel. Can everybody hear me well?
Perfect.
Yeah, great. So my name is Swami Shivasankari Ananda. It's a big, long name, but Swami G with a J-I on the end is fine. And I'm the director of the Sivananda Yoga Vedanta Center here in Los Angeles. I understand some of you are in Los Angeles. And we do all kinds of teaching, not just yoga to stretch your body, but yoga to stretch your mind and your heart. And during the pandemic, we started to offer these grief groups. So it's an 8-session, once per week. We met on Zoom. So I was leading, and then also a psychotherapist. So we were co-teaching, and so beautifully, which I think you're finding already since you're meeting in a group, is the group coming together is what's healing. And then to then break into a group and talk, into pairs and talk one-on-one with somebody you didn't know, but that you share something deep with, that it's hugely healing. So over the course of the 8 weeks, we do like a little teaching, a lot of sharing, a lot of challenging questions maybe, and then some stretching, breathing, chanting to help try other ways of being present and connecting to yourself. So like Daniel said, grief can be loss of anything. Yeah, it can be loss of a person, of course, but it can be loss of anything, something, even a dream or an idea of who you are. So then we have to go through some process of loss. Yoga tells us that we aren't this body, we aren't this mind. The essence of who we are is deeper than all of that. But in the moment of loss, we're like, and we're like holding on for dear life. Yeah. But if we live in the past of what we were, who we were, what we thought we were going to do, yeah, in that regret, yeah, then we're not happy. And equally, if we look at the future, when this is going to happen, then we feel anxious because we don't know, right? Or even like the goal setting, right? We don't know if we're going to be able to do it. So we feel anxious. So the healing takes place here and now, where we can just be with ourselves, be honest with ourselves, whatever point of our healing we're in. Because the process of grief is very unpredictable. Maybe you've realized that already. Sometimes you're feeling okay and good and ready to go forward and meet whatever's there. And then other times it's just like, oh, I can't get out of bed. I can't take the next step. I just can't accept that this happened, right? And so it's gonna swing, yeah, to extremes maybe. And then as you work with it, maybe it's less extremes, but it's still gonna move. You think you're doing okay, and then something, some idea, some sound, something that you see reminds you, and you go down again. So just to say that we need to accept that whole process. It's like the whole process of life compressed, yeah, kind of more, more in your face than before or than ever, maybe. Yeah. So how can we just be in the moment, stay calm, stay open, watch what's happening, watch my response to what's happening, and just be curious. We don't have to love what's happening, but to be curious and open. Okay? Because it's in that moment where maybe it's something different than I thought. Because ultimately, everything that happens in life happens for a reason. We might be mad at it, we might not want it, but it happens for a reason. So we step on this journey to find some meaning in what's happening, even though it's not what I would have chosen. Yeah, but I look for some meaning. right? Sometimes it takes something strong. So one man who came to the center recently, he was in the Northridge earthquake. Yeah, he was on the second floor of a building in the epicenter of the earthquake, and he jumped out of the window. Yeah, so he was hurt, but he said, up until that moment, I never had an intimate relationship. And after that, I was able to open my heart and have an intimate relationship. Isn't it extraordinary? He said, it really shook me up. It took an earthquake to shake him up to realize that he needed to be present now and he could open to life. Yeah. So whatever it takes, sometimes it takes something really strong to get us out of the trajectory we thought was our life. Yeah. And to say, okay, again, it's not what I would have chosen. Yeah. But here I find myself in it. What can I do with it? So for sure, to come together in a group and see that other people, nobody's exactly suffering what you're suffering, but other people are feeling, loss of this, confinement, isolation, disappointment, feeling stuck. Yeah. So other people are feeling some of the things that you're feeling. So then it's like you listen to sad music when you're feeling sad, and it's like you feel heard. You feel that vibration matches yours, and you feel better.
Well,
Is there somebody who's got their microphone on that could mute? Okay, so I'm not sure how much time I have because I can talk a lot and I wanted to get questions from you, and I also wanted to just do a little practice with you. So, Daniel, how much time do I have?
As much time as you would like.
Yeah, okay.
We all need the practice, so we appreciate your time.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
And I really want to highlight something that you brought up there. I think that was incredibly relevant for us is it's not something we would choose. Kind of like what Linda was saying in the very, very beginning of this group. I wouldn't have chosen it, but we're here. And because of that, we need something extreme, unfortunately, sometimes to wake us up, to increase the appreciation, to increase the engagement in our life. And I think that was such a poignant point for you to bring up, so relevant to what we're dealing with. So we appreciate it.
Yeah. It's like you find strength from somewhere to carry on, right? You thought you had it all figured out, and then a curveball comes, right? So how can we bear it, right? It's almost like bear the unbearable, and yet that's what's happening, right? How can we bear it? So by being steady, by practicing, by, was the idea of goal setting, any progress you make is huge progress, right? It's like in the process of meditation, we're trying to empty the mind, but how do we do that? Because there's so many thoughts. But even if you can notice there is a thought and drop one thought, it's progress. Right? We think, oh, but there's so many more. But one thought by one thought by one thought, we make progress. Right? So this idea, what I can't control if there's an earthquake, if there's a whatever else. I can't control when somebody dies. I can't control it. But what can I control? What can I do? I can be in the moment. I can just keep myself calm. I can just keep breathing. I can just take one more step. It's like, okay, can I just, whatever, take the next breath, whatever it is, can I just stay calm? Can I try to see it a different way, like a little step to the side? Can I just see it slightly differently? Yeah. So then it's like we're engaged in the process of our life on our journey through a curveball. So it takes a turn we didn't expect. it's still my life. I still have choices to make. I still put one foot in front of the next. Yeah. They might be smaller steps than you wish, right? But take those small steps because they add up. Yeah. So somehow, like, just to connect with other people and to see that everybody's journey is different and the same. Yeah. One time I was having a difficult time in my life, and I was making drawings and collages to try to express, what was going on. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like I was doing one every day. Like, I have to burn this. It's so personal. I can't show anybody. And what I realized was it was so universal. How many people have felt constrained by something or thought they were going somewhere and it turns out not to be that? It's uncanny how we all learn our lessons, but in so many different ways, but similar lessons. Yeah, that we must look to each other for support, for upliftment. Yeah. So at these times that challenge the deepest idea of who I am, yeah, it's really, can I say, like, pregnant with possibility, because you're laid bare. You thought you knew, and now it's like a new normal. And so what is it now? Who am I? Who am I? What is possible now? Right? That job, that money, that place, that this and that, it's not really the most important thing. Right? So we start on this inward journey. Yeah? And whether it's working with your mind and emotions, in the group we do a little bit of nonviolent communication. Have you practiced that? It's like really trying to name, how am I feeling exactly? Because that also helps. It's like, I acknowledge I'm feeling rage. I'm feeling despair. I'm feeling irritable. Yeah. It's like, where am I at right now today? And it's like you listen to yourself. Yeah. It's not like, well, I shouldn't feel. No, you feel how you feel. And then that evolves and moves. Nothing's going to stay stagnant. Everything changes. Everything changes. You think you've got it in your hand, it's going to change. You think it's like terrible and will never get better, it's going to change. Everything is changing and flowing. So then when we step back and watch the amazing show, we're not as bogged down by it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's like we step back. It's exactly like in the meditation process. It's like you step back and just watch what the mind is doing. Yeah, watch all the things the mind is churning up, but it's not you, it's just your mind doing the thing that it does, right? That it started to do as a kid, that you heard your parents do, and the mind just copies. It's like the grooves of a vinyl record, right? It just plays that song. Every time you feel anxious or mad, it plays that song, right? So if we can observe the mind and catch it, yeah, then we can choose to do something new. But if we don't catch the mind, then it's just who I am. I always am saying, oh, that was stupid. Oh, I should have done that. I should have known that. I should have, and it just becomes the voice in our head, but we don't hear it. So what if we could, thought by thought, change it to a positive channel? Yeah. What did somebody say the other day? Well, like somebody says, like, oh, I can't remember people's names. Well, for sure you can't remember people's names if you don't give it a try. But maybe you can make some trick in your mind to remember a few people's names. And then they're happy when you say their name. And then you try a few other people to remember their names. Yeah. Or, somebody said just yesterday, oh, I'm a people pleaser. It's like, it's great to notice that you have the tendency to do, what somebody might like, but to claim that that's who you are is not very helpful. Does that make sense? It's like to see that subtlety, to notice that you do it is the first step to taking back your power. You can do something for somebody consciously, and you can decide you don't have enough energy to do that for somebody and say, I'm so sorry, I can't do it today. Right? But otherwise, if we have that loop in our head, what do you need? I can do it. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? We run ourselves ragged and we never get what we need anyway. Right? But we're hungry for whatever we think we might get. So we're willing to, go beyond our means even to try to get a scrap from someone. And then it's not worth it, right? You need to give it to yourself. Okay. So I could just keep talking, but are there any questions? Is there anything particularly on anyone's mind?
Your voice is so soothing. But everything you say is so true. And yes, you're right, Daniel, it's neuroplasticity. And I always forget, like, what do you call that? What do you call that? You know, when you just, everything that, so I'm challenged right now with memory. But whenever like something is around and there's this chaos and commotion, and I just, I found myself to just mute it. I've been able to just this practice of just muting. And in my group last night, we were just talking about this very same thing. And, it could be for anyone. It could be your faith. It could be meditation. It could be, what a walk, whatever, will feed your soul to be able to just allow you to just calm your body so that, you and your spirit could just heal and just be grounded. Mute everything, just one breath at a time. And
excellent.
The more you do that, the more it's just going to come naturally. And the more you do that, the more you're going to be able to sleep and wake up happy. And that's crazy, like when you wake up and like you hear the birds and you're finding yourself like, why am I so happy today? And it's been like that, and it might annoy some people. Let it annoy them. It will be contagious. And it's just amazing. But thank you for saying all that and reminding us that
we need to be reminded all the time, right? In the Bhagavad Gita, it's one of the scriptures of yoga, and Arjuna is being taught by Krishna. He's teaching him all about life and how to find bliss, and he keeps teaching him for 18 chapters. He's teaching him, right? And at the end, he's like, wow, could you tell me again? Could you just keep telling me? Because when you're not telling me, I forget.
Yeah.
Isn't that where we all are? When we hear something that's uplifting or that's true or that's inspiring or encouraging, it's like, yeah, but so quickly we slip into what we know. Yeah. So we got to hear it as much as possible, right? We have a Satsang every morning at 6. We do meditation, chanting, and a little reading, and it's free and it's online. And it's like a beautiful way to start the day. It's like you vow like to do that, to start your day in a positive way, to hear some uplifting word that you can maybe hold on for a few hours or for the rest of your day. Yeah, it's so important that there's something simple, but that we can keep feeding that positivity to our mind.
Thank you, Swami.
Find that joy. Yeah, beautiful. Any other questions?
Yeah, absolutely. If you could leave that information in the chat whenever you're able, if we can, so that way, should people like to access and how we could do that.
Okay.
That would be great. Yeah, it doesn't have to be now, but at some point. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah, we have positive thinking courses, a 5-session course where we look at the mind and how sneaky the mind is. Yeah. So we have to like create a new habit right beside the old one, and we'll probably slip into the old one a lot. But every time we slip, we're like, oh, I see it. I don't judge it.
neuroplasticity at work. That's
I,
neuroplasticity.
yeah.
Perfect. Love it.
Yeah. You create the new groove and not expecting that you just snap your fingers and do something new. No, you're going to fall into that old habit many more times. Sorry, guaranteed. Almost guaranteed, right? But you'll see it. And every time you see it, it's more strength to not do it the next time. Yeah? Or you won't go so deep the next time.
May I ask you where you're the director of what again? Can you put it in chat so I can look it up?
Yeah, I'm happy to put it. Yeah, maybe I'll just finish talking and I'll put it all. It's Sivananda Yoga Vedanta Center in Los Angeles, and we have an ashram in Grass Valley.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to put that in chat.
Okay. Yeah, it's not so easy to write. I mean, it is once you see it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to share that with you. We try to have everything online as well as in person so that people can share. We have positive thinking course, meditation course, which is again, mostly about the mind, how the mind works, how the mind tries to trick you. Yeah. And we got to start
That's
to see.
precisely what I need.
Yeah. It's like we have to go, oh, that's just my mind. Oh, that's
I
just
tried to do guided meditation on YouTube, no good. But
yeah. Would
finally
love,
got to place. Now breathe. Okay,
would love to see you in the class.
I will be there.
Very good. Picos?
Hi. I have a question, I guess, regarding meditation. Like I do yoga, I'd say like 5 to 15 minutes almost every night before bed. And I have sort of different techniques that I use, like to concentrate and try to, clear my mind. Do you have, and this question goes for anybody who meditates, I guess, it's like, do you have a certain thing you say or sound you make, like if you're counting, like what I mean is, like, let's say I'm doing a warrior pose and I'll be looking at my arm and I'll say, like, keep your arm straight, core tight, and I'll like try to think that in my body to like clear my head but maintain my posture. Do you have suggestions or things you teach or other people might say to, like, if you're sitting upright, to, like, keep yourself concentrated on clearing your mind, like breathe?
Yeah, we need a lot of help with that, a lot of things to do with our mind to try to keep it still and have no expectation that you're going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
You're just trying to hold the mind still, and it runs and it runs, and then you find yourself far away and you're like, uh-oh, come back. And that's the whole process. If I sit still for an hour and I don't move, you're going to probably think, wow, her mind. No, it's not. It's jumping all over the place. So my body's still, it helps, but doesn't guarantee my mind is still. So in how we teach is a classical meditation. So first you sit still. So doing asana, yoga postures, helps you have that ease in your body and be able to be still. Then we also focus on the breath, because the breath is always there, always there, always there. So come back and make it really steady. Then we give a place for the mind to be. So we say either here, like it's not like you hurt your eyes, it's just you inside, just think here, or at the center of your chest. It's a place like like if a bird flies away and then comes back to the perch. Yeah, it's just a place to come back to. And then we use a mantra. So I wanted to do some mantra chanting with you in a few minutes, but the Om mantra you can use anytime. Yeah, Om, like you inhale, Om, exhale, Om, inhale, Om, and then you're thinking about pizza or tomorrow, and then you go, Om.
I'll try to count to 20 sometimes, and I realize that after 10, I'm like, oh wait, I'm not. I lost myself after 10. You know, I'll count breath like 1,
Start over, exactly.
2,
Whoever
and
said
then
that,
I always start over.
that's
And,
all we can do.
yeah, that's sort of my proof that I've lost my concentration, was I realized I didn't even make it to 20.
Don't be
But
too
what
hard.
But
what you need to do is simply start over. Not like, oh, I lost
yeah,
myself. Yeah.
yeah,
It's never to give yourself a hard time, because then you're not going to want to do it at all.
yeah.
And you won't.
That's what I've learned to do, is go, oh, okay, start over. Just
But I wonder if the numbers, maybe you say, oh, I only got to 9 today. Oh, I only got to 3 today. Oh, it's like, if it's numbers, it's easy to like, I got to get to 12 today, or, maybe it makes you competitive with yourself. And if you just chant Om, just be there, just chant Om, notice when the mind goes off, come back, Om, Om again, and the mind goes off, and you bring it back. And maybe you do it 100 times in 15 minutes.
Do you actually concentrate saying Om?
Yeah.
You focus on that Om?
Mm-hmm. So concentration, we think it's like, okay, I'm going to focus my mind, but it's not. Concentration is emptying everything else out so that your mind rests on one thing. And then it's so beautiful. Like if you're reading a book and you're so engrossed in the book, you don't even hear when somebody calls your name. Yeah, because you're all of your senses are focused on that book. That's concentration. And have you lost yourself like that in, maybe it's music or art or some activity that you do? That's concentration, and it's blissful. It's timeless. So we're trying to allow ourselves to go to that place. Right? In that place, everything's perfect. My body's perfect. My mind's perfect. And I just rest there. It's a relaxed, blissful state. It's not like, okay, hold. It can't be. Yeah. It's like an allowing everything to fall away. Huh?
I have a question.
thanks.
What's that, Heather?
So just like what you said, the concentration, because I do that with, like I call it zoning, when I will watch TV, and it gives like my brain a break, because I will be so zoned in that I don't really remember what I've watched, or if like someone disturbs me or something, I'll kind of be like out of sorts, like where am I? But with like meditating, like I think I could get into that, but I don't know. It's like with the TV, it's like something else is like occupying that part of my brain to let the other part rest, is what doctors have told me. But I don't know if would occupy it enough.
So,
and are you still thinking while you're?
Well, the thing is, if you say, no, thought go away, back to Om, no, thought going, oh, look, I'm meditating, my mind is quiet, then it's thinking again. Yeah, right. Because it's not a mental thing, it's beyond the mind, but all we have is the mind. So it's a little tricky, but it's not just zoning out and like turning off my mind, it's kind of pleasurable when we could just let the mind go wherever it goes. And but it's not, it's like the TV's bringing stuff at you, and you don't know what it's going to come next. So it's much better that it's like your active practice, that you sit, you hear the birds, you hear the dog, you hear the garbage truck, you hear whatever, but you just, okay, it's happening. It's passing through you. The thoughts are coming, the thoughts are going. And it's like you see, like you develop the detachment. Yeah, these things are all happening around me, but I can still be at peace. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like you're trying to not think of anything. You're actually just
So you can be aware of your surroundings and those things. Because I was trying to figure out, how do you not get any thoughts? But it's not.
It's not like that. You're gonna think your mind is not gonna stop thinking. She said just go back and focus on your breathing.
Okay. Yeah,
Your
that's
mind-
what confuses me sometimes, because I'm like, even when I try to, my mind will, like you said, hear a bird or something. I'm like, oh.
Your
Focus.
mind doesn't want to meditate. Your
Right.
mind wants to think. That's its job. So we're trying to use the mind to kind of sneak around the mind. So it's very tricky. Yeah, but your mind is going to think. That's what it does. As soon as there's space, it's like, what about this? I haven't thought about this in a while. And it's just what's going to happen. So you can start to kind of enjoy to watch that. Oh my God, I thought I was getting somewhere. And then bang, I got hit with that thought. And just, wow. But you don't get involved in it. You just watch the things that come. Yeah. And they can come up and go, right? Instead of getting stuck. Yeah. It's never like, I didn't think that. I didn't. It's not. It's like, wow, that's kind of a dark thought. Let it go too. Yeah. Just let it go. Because
It's kind of like a practice that we know from my therapist of or observe, accept, release. That's with like negative thoughts and stuff like can be used for all that. But the way you're talking about it reminds me of that, just to let it go and just be like, oh well.
Yeah, no
I thought of it,
judgment.
keep going.
No judgment. It's just what happened. That thought came and I let it go. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
made it seem so much easier to me now.
I mean, it's not easy, but
No, not easy, but like I understand it. I understand it better the way you put it.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you.
Any other question before we do just a couple exercises? Everybody's good?
Yeah, we have
Swami Shivasankari?
Yes.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Hi. Swami Sivasankari, hi. My name is Roshana.
Roshana.
I'm on the phone.
Great.
Namaste.
Namaste.
The definition of Om, and maybe you can concur, is, we take that breath in as the A-O-U-M, Aum is how it's technically spelled. And a lot of people just say Om, but it really engages taking a breath in, and the Ah is almost, for me, when I do the Aum sound, it allows me to have that, not only the resonance in the body, but it helps align the chakras to the original mother, father, sacred soul self, because we're all asking, what am I and what am I doing here? So all these shifts and changes, even when it becomes a negative thought in a meditation, we're not never meditating. We can control the mind, but also the mind is controlled by the ego. So in that, taking a moment away from anything and saying Om, or for instance, for me, I do the Gayatri mantra. So I can do that and I'll sing that, and it just makes me, and then, I don't force myself to get to 108 repetitions, but I know that if I do it in 3, that instantaneous body, mind, spirit association, or my soul drops back to center, that's where the Om, or taking the breath back. And it doesn't mean you're not going to think about things or still have your to-do list, but putting that aside to allow the body not to have any intake, just the flow of emanating that joy and that peace, that can sometimes dissipate or ameliorate the effect in the physical body of dealing with the anxiety of, I can't finish this, or I have to walk away from this, or even the meditation, I'm too fidgety, I'll come back to it later. Those are the permissions that, through my own traumatic brain injury, the meditation has really worked along with the breathing. And that's That's just it. That's
Wonderful.
where I have to go. And to control the anxiety, for me, it is to take in a deep breath and look at what is causing the anxiousness.
Very good. Very good. It's present in the moment. Oh, my breath is rocky. My mind is jumpy. I feel, and then I can use that breath to calm it right down. And if the mantra is right there and you can grab it, maybe you're waiting for a friend. You're like, oh my gosh, where are they? Where are they? You can just chant Om, Om, and then you're happy. They can be 20 minutes late and you're happy because you're doing something uplifting with your mind. So I'd love to chant Om with you. I think we could segue into that based on what Rashana said. So it is built of the three sounds Aum, but we say it Om. And it's like, you can imagine it starts at the base of your spine and travels up to the top of your head. Or you can also imagine that it starts in your throat and goes across the top of your mouth and lands on your lips. So you feel the vibration on your lips in the end. Yeah. So the is a part of the sound. And
this is so perfect. Swami, just a moment. We have one more question, if possible, from Victoria.
Can we do the Om and then get a question? Oh,
Perfect.
Yeah, because it seems like we're just primed to Om. So, usually chanting's not so easy online because there's a delay, but I'd love to try with you if you want to turn on your sound. It's like we do like an Om bath. So you just take a deep breath, and however long your Om takes, you take it and you finish with and then you start again. So it's this overlapping sound of Om. Does that sound all right?
Mhm.
It doesn't have to sound any particular way. You don't have to be a singer. Just let that sound out and feel, because it's like it vibrates in your energy. It's part of you. Yeah, it's part of you. So then
Do
it's,
you want all of us to unmute?
well, let's see how it sounds. If it was too much, then you could unmute, but it usually works. Yeah, ready? Okay.
Use $1,200 from this senior stimulus program.
And then just be silent for a moment and feel some subtle vibration, it's very subtle, the effect. Could you feel that? Such a nice way to connect through that sound, yeah? So that's something you can use anytime. Even if you hear a sound that's like, ugh, like there's a gardener outside using a tool, you can imagine that it's part of Om. It's just Om too, and it helps you assimilate, instead of reject anything, everything melts in that beautiful sound. Okay, Victoria, did you want to ask your question?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm Victoria. I'm an intern, so this question is coming from more of a provider perspective. You said something that's commonly said, which is everything in life happens for a reason. And I agree with the sentiment of that. Personally, I think things happen randomly, but there's always good that can come from it.
Mhm.
I was wondering, you know, what you said to me sounded very faith-based. And I was wondering how you convince people of that, because I think it's a very positive outlook that is essential for people to feel that they have agency over their life. But I do think that it takes a leap of faith. And I'm wondering if you ever experienced any pushback in your practice from people who don't have those beliefs, and how you respond to that.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the midst of it, we can't say this is so great. I'm so glad this is happening. Right? We can't. I mean, unless we've been practicing a lot, and then we go, wow, I wonder why this is happening. I wonder why I got this disease. I wonder why this happened. Huh, interesting. But, you know, it's just like an idea, right? Who said my life was supposed to go a different way? I thought it was gonna, but who said I'm gonna live to 100? I'm gonna live in this place. No, you know, it's not, it's just an idea we just assume so that we can keep going towards some point in the future. But it's very helpful when it's like humbling to realize that life has its own agenda, or it's like, hello, you're not learning your lesson. I'm going to have to talk a little louder. You know, maybe losing something, you know, maybe you lose your job and you're devastated, like, oh my gosh. But then after some time, actually, you start to work toward doing the job you always wanted to do anyway. You might as well. So in the moment, we don't see it. And I don't think, you know, most people see it. No. So if you say that to somebody who's just lost something, oh, it's something, it's happening for a good reason, they probably punch you. You know, it's like, no, it isn't. I want my life back. But it's like maybe you hear it again and again. You're like, yeah, no, I don't see why this happened. But some time passes and you see you met someone, or you learned something, or you finally confronted your ego, or caught some habit of yours that you were too busy in life even to see. So life is always trying to put the lessons in front of us to learn the next step. And sometimes we don't want to hear it, you know? And it's like knocks louder, bangs on the door. And finally it's like, hello, slow down, wake up. So I know sometimes it sounds like too much, but it's the truth. And slowly, if we see that it's just a process and we don't know the end, you know, that's why we're here, is to live through the process, and it takes us where we need to be. So it's not easy, but it's like, it's the truth. We just have to, you know, keep stepping forward.
So in your practice, you just repeat it to people until they're ready to internalize that.
Well, I just wouldn't say it in the beginning too much, because it's like annoying, right? It's like nobody else can tell you there's a silver lining until you see it. When you see it, it's like, wow, if that didn't and that didn't line up, I wouldn't be there. Wow. But nobody else can really point it out for you, right? But maybe you lose your dearest, whatever it is, and you think life's not worth living. But then you see that it was your attachment to that, and you thought you put so much weight into that you were missing everything else. So it's just to kind of reorient us, and we don't want to be reoriented. We don't want things to change, but things change. It's the nature of life. So somehow to just be able to flow with it and reserve judgment. Okay, this is okay. I just do my best with what I got, and then I see where that takes me.
That's such an important thing, right? I was going to be a pharmacist. I was going to tell people drugs. So clearly my brain injury brought me a different path, right? And so those are the things. Oh yeah, sorry. So can I hear me well? Okay, excellent. So yeah, on to that point, I was going to be a clinical pharmacist. I was going to sell people drugs. And so now after my brain injury, that took me a very different. And so thank you for that. Kenny, you had something there, sir? And Heather? Kenny, and you're muted.
Is that Gandhi behind you?
No,
The
this
picture?
is no. There's Swami Shivananda and
Okay.
Swami Vishnudevananda. Swami
Okay.
Shivananda was a recognized saint. He left his body in 1963, and Swami Vishnu was sent to the West in 1957. So he was one of the first yogis to come and bring
Oh,
yoga
really?
to us. Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Heather, you had a question there?
It's not a question, but I think it was Victoria, and Swami, am I saying your name right? You talked about before, like one of over the 20 years that I've had my injury, the biggest concept that has given me a lot of relief about the silver lining and everyone being like, you're so lucky. And I was like, really? It's been the ambiguous loss of learning that term and realizing what that was, and that it was okay for me to have those down days, those down thoughts, as long as I could be like, but you know what? Like now I take joy out of, I always say this as an example, watching ants and being like,